What do you think made Jack more skeptical at first?
I think what made him skeptical was two things. One is, people got hurt when they showed up. I think with the amount of technology that they have to be able to come here, that people were killed and injured, and I think that's unsettling for Father Jack. Also, the imposing nature of them being above every major city, it seems threatening that they're here and they're there in the way they are. Also, I think there's an instinctual part of Father Jack. It's a gut instinct that doesn't seem right, but we don't really know them. Like they might be saying one thing, and what are their actions? Their actions speak more volumes than what people say. So I think there's a few things that kind of ring, and also it isn't in the scriptures. I say it in the pilot. This is not how do you reconcile God and aliens? It's not what I've studied. I don't know what we've never discussed this. God has never mentioned this in the Bible.
Is he going to try to find an explanation for himself or for others, or is he going to try to reconcile the two, aliens and God?
Yeah, I think that's kind of like in the back, kind of like there's no real answers to that. I mean, obviously they're here, so I don't know. He doesn't know where they came from, but I think he's got more things in front of him now. I think that the things that were revealed to him in the pilot is so shocking and so immediate and so personal to a certain degree of mankind that's his objective right now.
Well, now that he's a part of the resistance, does he sort of take things in stride or stumble a bit at first? It's definitely a different role than being a priest.
Yes, he's a fish out of water to a certain degree, and but he has Erica. Erica is the one person that he trusts the most because of what actually occurs in the pilot, and she's an FBI agent, and she's very witty, and she knows what to do in a protective kind of manner. So he has her, and yet he's trying. He does the best he can. There's moments where he makes really terrible mistakes, and he has to deal with the consequences. That's the human side of Father Jack. Father Jack is a guy that he's so well intended, but yet he doesn't have all the tools.
Is Erica going to give him the tools? Is she going to teach him how to fight? He's sort of on the front lines.
Yes. Yeah, I think he follows her lead. They're in tandem. They're working together, and yet, this is all on charted ground for Erica also. I mean, she has the training as an FBI agent, but yet this wasn't ever discussed, and the fact that they've been here before and they're among us and you can't tell is incredibly unsettling, and no matter what kind of schooling you've had and whatever background, that's still that you can't quite tell. So he is very grateful to have her, and I think that they're finding their way together.
Is Erica similar to Tom's Diana, and how do those partnerships sort of differ?
They're similar in this aspect of trust. Tom Baldwin, the 4400, was a very skeptical man to a certain degree, and I think that Father Jack is not. But there is a closeness to that. Although Tom wasn't a priest, Father Jack's a priest. There's a certain level of, even though Elizabeth is very beautiful, Father Jack's a priest. So but there is that intimacy of trust, which is extraordinary, that they share.
And Father Jack seems to have good faith in humanity, or at least a sort of innocent faith. Is that going to be shaken by the fact that he can't really trust anyone?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's an interesting dilemma. I think Father Jack is an idealist. He's a guy who, he thinks wonderful of people and people's potential. And yet now he doesn't know who he can trust. I mean, he can't trust anyone. I mean, what's discovered in the pilot, he can't come back to the church and trust anybody around him. So it's rattled him to such a degree, it goes so foreign to his instincts that it almost rattles him to the core, and it puts a huge burden on him. And also, with that aspect of it, everything goes towards Erica. Everything's about having some kind of relationship that Crave that he can trust.
And now that he's involved in the resistance, essentially as like a number 2, is he going to try to keep a low profile or continue to sort of preach, not against the V's, but caution, I suppose?
Yeah. Yes, he's made comments, for his congregation right off the bat that, but we don't, before you completely put your trust, be careful, understand where you're, look at every aspect. So he definitely, I have no idea. So yeah, I think that's that first step is trying to get a hold of his congregation and protect them that way.
Because he probably has an inherent need to like tell people, save humanity, since
Yes.
it's very
Yes.
close.
Yeah, the priest part of him doesn't ever change. I mean, he's still, when I got the role, I actually researched some, read a lot about priests and what you go through to become a priest, and it's very extensive. And to actually get there, you really gotta want to do this. There's no back, and then they push you to the degree before you actually, to the final step before that you can possibly back out. So for him, he's innately always going to be a man of faith and man of priest. But, it's been completely compromised in this incredible story.